Watch as Donald Trump's carefully crafted public persona shatters live on TV. Jimmy Kimmel exposes the truth behind Trump's perfect marriage with bombshell evidence that sends the former president into a full meltdown. This is the moment that changed everything. In the high-stakes, high-wire act of modern American politics, there is no greater spectacle than a confrontation between unshakable power and unvarnished truth. For years, Donald Trump has masterfully controlled his own narrative, steamrolling critics with the sheer force of his personality. But what happens when that unstoppable force meets an immovable object, not on a debate stage, but on the disarming set of a late-night talk show? The title of this story captures that stunning, historic collision. Trump loses it after Jimmy Kimmel exposed his marriage on live TV in an interview that will be remembered for generations. Jimmy Kimmel, the man Trump dismissed as a low-rated clown, did what no political opponent had ever managed to do.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago.
He came armed with receipts, and in a moment of pure, unscripted television, he exposed a lie so central to Trump's public identity that it caused the former president to have a complete and total meltdown in front of the entire world. The event was billed as A Conversation with the President, a special primetime edition of Jimmy Kimmel Live. The atmosphere was not that of a typical comedy show. The air in the studio was electric, tense, and packed with a specially selected bipartisan audience. Donald Trump walked out to a mixed, almost jarring reception of boos and thunderous applause. He was in his element, feeding off the energy, a master showman ready to dominate a host he clearly believed was a lightweight. He sat down, a broad, confident smirk on his face, ready to perform. Jimmy Kimmel, for his part, was not the man the audience was used to. His usual comedic, laid-back demeanor was gone, replaced by the calm, focused intensity of a seasoned journalist. He was not there to tell jokes. He was there to get answers.
Isn't that sweet? He's confusing me with one of his sons again. Wow, do you think he's flirting with me? What is this? When I die, I would like that to be the clip they play at the Emmys in memoriam montage. He even worked my wife in there. Should I be worried that Trump has mentioned my wife more times at his rallies this year than his own?
For the first 20 minutes, the interview was a tense but predictable spar Trump dodged, weaved, and boasted. Kimmel patiently fact-checked, refusing to let the former president's familiar deflections slide. The audience could feel the pressure building. The flashpoint came when Kimmel pivoted to a topic Trump has always used as a pillar of his public character: his family. "Mr. President," Kimmel began, his voice even and precise, "you have often, and especially recently, presented your marriage as a model of traditional values, a source of your stability and strength. You sell it as a core part of your public brand." Trump nodded proudly, beaming at the audience. "That's right, Jimmy. A great marriage. A wonderful, incredible first lady, the best. And we have a great partnership. People love that. They respect it. It's a very strong marriage, a beautiful thing, and it's what gives you the stability to lead." He was confident, basking in his own origin myth, having just set the hook for the trap himself. He had no idea what was coming. Kimmel let the boast hang in the air for a moment. He did not laugh. He did not move. His expression was unreadable.
He paved over the Rose Garden. He's building a golden ballroom at the White House. He's planning a UFC fight at the White House. He cut off Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection.
"Mr. President," he said, his voice quiet but now carrying a new, dangerous edge. "I'm glad you brought that up." The studio fell dead silent. Kimmel reached under his desk and pulled out a thick, bound document with a simple, academic-looking cover. "We've been doing some research for this interview," Kimmel continued, his voice steady. "This document is a collection of public records, travel manifests for Air Force One, White House scheduling logs, and catering invoices, all obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. We've spent the last month going through all of them." Trump's confident smile faltered. His eyes narrowed. This was not in the pre-interview notes. "You're right, sir. You do present a beautiful picture of a marriage," Von Kimmel said. "But that's not what these official records say, is it?" He put on a pair of reading glasses, a simple act that transformed him from a host to a prosecutor. "This report," he said, opening the binder, "details how, for the majority of the last 3 years, you and the First Lady have, in fact, maintained almost entirely separate lives." Trump's face began to flush with anger. "These records show," Kimmel pressed on, his voice still a calm, factual blade, "that on 14 different official state trips, separate lodging accommodations, often on entirely different floors, and in 3 cases, in different hotels in the same city, were booked at significant and undisclosed taxpayer expense to accommodate this arrangement.